I brought the right guy on the show to talk about the Aaron Rodgers injury
I
speculation. I'm pretty sure Aaron
even
Rodgers
wore the
already on
Aaron
the Pat
Rodgers number
McAfee show
12.
said that he's not coming back this year just because it wouldn't be feasible. But the Jets GM, I think beforehand, said that he expects Aaron Rodgers back this year. Man, the Jets are 4-3. Should his return even be considered at this point, knowing he's only 2 months removed from that Achilles injury? And I understand probably very revolutionary. Aaron Rodgers is going to tell us that he's doing stuff that's never been done before, and it's very well so. He's got a lot of money. He's got access to things that we don't have access to. But we're talking about an Achilles injury. We see Cam Akers come back early, and he doesn't look that solid. What are your thoughts on this? Again, should it even be considered at this point with the Jets sitting at 4-3?
You said it all, right? Even if the Jets were, let's say, 6-1, I'd say no. Or even 0 and whatever, like I'd say absolutely not. And the reason being, like, first, I know firsthand, Aaron Rodgers believes he's the smartest guy in the room at all times, and he believes in this new age, medicine and science. But there are two things. First, you mentioned it. You have an Achilles injury. And usually it takes at least 5 to 6 months for your Achilles to fully heal. I
Right.
know you mentioned Cam Akers did make, like 2 years ago, made a comeback within 5 months. But Cam Akers at the time was 22 years old. You're
Right.
almost you're almost twice his age. You're going to be 40 in
Straight
December.
up.
And the thing is about Achilles, while I know it's not his right Achilles where he's going to put more, because of a quarterback, you plant your right leg and you use the force of momentum from the ground for your right leg, even though Aaron Rodgers is not a lower half thrower, it's all his arm. Like his arm is so great. So
Yeah.
like it's usually his upper body that gets its most momentum from, because a lot of time his feet are not even on the ground. That being said, you're 40 years old, you have to get outside the pocket. You still have to create something with your legs simply because you are playing behind a very porous offensive line. And you saw that in the opener. That's why he went down, like, what, 4 plays into the season, because your offensive line really is bad. So, like, to bring him back, and the reason why he wouldn't, like, rushed him back, because I know a lot of people saying, oh, New York Jets are right there 4-3. I'd call this season a wash. And you know the reason why I'd call this season a wash? You still have next season to get this done. Like, you're under no pressure to do it this year. And I say that because both Sauce Gardner and Brees Hall, your offensive and defensive rookie of the year last year, both of them are still on rookie contracts. Like, Quinnen Williams is, like, what, loaded up for the next, or like locked up for the next 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Um, so too, I think, what is DJ Reed? DJ Reed still has, like, what? He's still locked up. So too Alan Lazard and Jordan Whitehead. I think he's on a shorter contract, but Jordan Whitehead still is under contract next season. I've just mentioned the nucleus of your squad on both sides of the football, like Quinnen Williams, DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner, Jordan Whitehead, Brees Hall. Who am I looking at? Alan Lazard. Oh, and how can I forget Garrett Wilson?
Correct.
Also on a rookie contract. Like, the nucleus of your squad is still locked up for next season. There's absolutely no rush to this. Like, yes, I'm glad to see that he's healing quickly, but what are you coming back this season to do? Like, if you come back this season, or what if at 40 years old your Achilles can't be fully healthy? Like, it's just gonna take one bad hit, and that's the end of your career. Because
Yep.
you're done. So, like, just wait. Just pump the brakes. Wait for next season. It's good. Now you're getting Zach Wilson another year of development, and who knows? Like, you can keep Zach Wilson as your backup for another season, and whenever Aaron Rodgers is done, you may have had your start of the future because you've been able to develop him. There is absolutely no reason to rush him back, and I don't see it medically possible for a 40-year-old quarterback to come back this quickly.
Yeah. It would be a major shock if Aaron Rodgers was actually able to come back that quick. And I don't think it should even be considered. Like you said, you've got at least one more year out of Rodgers, if not two. I know he's not just going to play 1 year in New York, knowing that the Achilles did hold him back and he wasn't able to play in a very highly anticipated season with the Jets. But I don't think it should be considered, even if the Jets were 7-1. Well, I won't say that. If the Jets were possibly in a better position to where maybe they were competing for the division, which they're 4-3, so they're not technically out of it, but we know it's a two-team race, right? But they're not as bad as the Patriots. If the Jets were possibly better, I could understand because it's been kind of a poverty franchise and You're literally built everywhere. That's why you went and got Aaron Rodgers, paid in the new deal. Zach Wilson was going to back him up, this, that, and the third. But yeah, it being considered at this point, like you said, one wrong step, one wrong hit, and that's possibly his career for good right there. Like, okay, now you're going to have to go get another surgery. Are you even going to want to come back and possibly risk it for a third time? And we're just really getting hypothetical here, but knowing that it is being considered was absolutely crazy to me because I know that this is a team that's desperate for success and desperate to win, but don't do a version of what the Cleveland Browns did. Don't
Basically,
rush your
yes.
quarterback into your system. And yeah, you're not overpaying him, but if you're rushing him back injured, I mean, damn, isn't that kind of just as bad as overpaying? And I don't want Jets fans to jump in the comments and absolutely obliterate me, but give yourself time. Like, you are so built. The Jets worked so hard to get here, draft after draft, bringing in Robert Saleh, understanding that it's starting to kind of feel like a level organization now. But yeah, it even being considered at this point, I thought was pretty wild. And I was like, wow, these guys really miss A-Rod. And I don't blame them, right? Like, if the Saints were in the same situation, I'd be like, dude, it'd be crazy. He comes back. We're going to go on a win streak, take it all the
But
way. But you got to be
you
realistic. You got to be in reality in the NFL. You were about to say something?
and you have time on your hands. Like your best players are all young. Garrett
Yep.
Wilson, Brees Hall,
Yep.
Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams. They're all young. Like you don't. There's no rush here. Like I understand Aaron Rodgers doesn't have time on his side, but like one more season, just wait.
Yeah, definitely. It was kind of crazy for me to know that the GM, and again, I think the GM said it before he went to the Aaron Rodgers. What is it? Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays, Aaron Rodgers
Aaron
Wednesdays.
Rodgers Tuesdays on Pat McAfee. Yep.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays. He went over there. Had the interview, was talking about how, or I believe he, was saying, because I heard Pat, in a clip on YouTube saying that, Aaron Rodgers isn't going to come back this year. He knows it's not feasible. Like, he's still got to recover. And I'm glad to hear that, because it even being a possibility, like, all right, what did you realistically do? What happened? What did you and Neil Elatrosh, what were y'all able to come up with or be revolutionary about? Because in a good point, like you said, with Cam Akers, he was 22, right? Like, literally in his rookie season, if not shortly after. And it ended up happening. He comes back as a young player rushing back and doesn't look the same. And he was a, pretty touted running back coming out of Florida State and coming into the draft. And a lot of people liked him. And when he was taken by the Rams, I was like, look, that's a great spot. I love what Sean McVay offers. And this team is going to be able to use him well. And we definitely don't want Aaron Rodgers, a 4-time MVP, a legendary player, a first ballot Hall of Famer, scar his career because of something like this being explored.